If you're a hospital and you're trying to be good at social, you've got regulatory considerations, you've got a lot of patient privacy, circumstances. A lot of people don't innately love their hospital unless they've been treated successfully recently. So you don't have a huge natural constituency in some cases. You have a million different topics that you've got to cover across the whole spectrum of health and wellness. It's just not an easy industry to be good at social in.
I completely agree. And there were a couple of interesting statistics that really jumped out to me. First, I do want to kind of double underline and highlight what you just said. It is a regulated industry. It is an industry dealing with sensitive information in some cases. And I think all of us as social media practitioners can learn a lot from this because it is such a regulated industry. When you see the hospital and healthcare organizations able to do something, we can all learn there. But I also think maybe there's an age and stage piece of this too, Jay. One of the interesting statistics that I saw in the report, it said, was 87% of 14 to 22-year-olds head to Google to seek out ways to connect with healthcare professionals online. Now, I don't know about your doctor or doctors. I can tell you, my doctor is not in social media, but I get the feel that is changing. It's changing because the consumers, the patients are expecting it. And we're seeing a bit of matriculation of doctors. We're seeing younger doctors kind of come in who are more comfortable with social media, practitioners and administrators of hospitals, much the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the patient interaction nexus is changing rapidly. And one of the little micro stats that we uncovered in this research was that on Instagram, carousels, right? So a multi-image array, typically known as a carousel, is getting double the engagement of single photos. Wow. Double the engagement, 2x, which is pretty significant. So that same idea, Adam, of like, okay, well, maybe what we do is we have a picture and then we have some sort of a graphic or an infographic or a stat or something else that sort of pays off that photo and kind of explains why it's important or what the context is. Maybe that's the formula.
You have to think about it that health and wellness information is one of the most popular things searched in social media. We are inundated with ways of making our health and wellness better. I mean, all of us, not all of us, probably many of the people who are listening to the show have an Apple Watch or an Android watch that's showing you your blood pressure or your pulse, that's encouraging you to go out and exercise and run and gamifying that entire thing. Hospitals are aware of this, so they've got to find content that can kind of associate and be meaningful for that. So yeah, exactly. But you're right, that carousel statistic, that's off the charts.
It really is. I should tell you, listeners, to download the report yourself for free. Again, lessons clearly if you're a hospital, but for other brands as well. You can get it right now. It's bit.ly/socialhealth20, bit.ly/socialhealth20, all lowercase. You can grab that right now, bit.ly/socialhealth20, all lowercase, and grab the report at no cost. It's got lots and lots of research in there. We were talking a second ago, Adam, about the prevalence of imagery in hospital social media and how imagery tends to outperform posts without images, but that's also true for video. We found a substantial—
and live video too.
Yeah. We saw a big uptick in video usage over the last year. And this stat really surprised me. 39% of the hospitals we studied, again, that's 54 of the biggest hospitals in the US, 39% of them are actively using Facebook Live.
Wow. It's refreshing to me because we all know that healthcare is one of the largest industries in the United States and quite frankly, the world. We also know, as you said, hospitals and healthcare is one of the more conservative industries because of all the regulatory things that we've talked about. So if they're able, if 39% of the hospitals you surveyed are able to use Facebook Live and get around HIPAA and all the restrictions that they have, that they're comfortable putting people on live and taking questions from patients and other people, man, every industry, every social media pro listening to this show today should be really considering, how can I use this new technology for my industry and for my brand?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you took a survey of 100 brands in general, 39% of them aren't using Facebook Live, right? So it's pretty remarkable. I'm glad, Adam, at the top of the show, you talked about the new ability to boost posts from within the Salesforce Social Studio product, because we found that boosting posts really works in the hospital channel. The average engagement rate for a post that has been boosted is 4.53%. This is on Facebook, okay? 4.53% is pretty darn good.
I'll take that data any day.
For engagement rate, 4.53% for boosted, 0.66 for unboosted, right? So you're talking about, that is, according to my math, 7.5x engagement rate boosted versus unboosted. And what we've seen, one of the big changes between when we ran this kind of report last year and this year, is a pretty significant uptick in the number of hospitals that are boosting posts. And while we can't infer their exact budget, it seems to be that more people are putting more money into boosting Facebook posts, which certainly is a lesson, not just for hospitals, but probably for many brands out there.
I was just curious, as you look at those, the top three hospitals that you recognized in your report, what were the things that they were doing, and what can other hospitals and other hospital administrators that are listening to the show can learn from, as well as people in any other industry? I think it was pretty insightful.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? It's learning from your results. So to some degree, the top hospitals, Mass General, Ohio State, Cleveland Clinic, they've got presences everywhere, and they've got staff, and they've got resources, and they're creating a consistent stream of content. But a couple things are true. One, the content that they create is valued by their audience. And it is what we would call utility content largely. It's things that are interesting and helpful and useful and informational, mixed in with some things that are inspirational, right? It's a delicate balance in hospitals. You don't want to overplay the "we're saving lives here, everybody," because that gets a little tiresome. And you also don't want to overplay the "hey, did you know how many calories in a grapefruit," right? That gets a little boring as well. So they have a nice mixture of content, tone, and execution. Certainly the things that they make are crafted well, right? So the photography's good, the images are good, the videos are good, right? It doesn't look like a middle school AV project. That helps. But the real differentiator, Adam, is that the leaders in this space understand what doesn't work, and then they just stop doing that.
Yeah.
Right? They don't send 50 tweets a day that don't work. They're like, well, let's figure out what does work on Twitter and do that, instead of just sort of like tweeting into the wind. And I think that's a lesson for us all, right? The data will tell you what you need to know. You just need to listen to the data and then modify your strategy accordingly. As we tell our clients all the time here at Convince and Convert, if you have a social media strategy that was created more than 12 months ago, you actually don't have a strategy. You might have a document that says strategy on it, but it's no longer a valid strategy. And so you just have to modify what you're doing based on what your results tell you. And that's certainly what these leaders are doing.